So you know the ones when you're listening to a song that you really like and you're like, that's my tune.
That's my tune.
Hey, this is Jojo B and this is episode 31 of That's My Tune, the podcast providing song reviews and interviews. Last week was a nice acoustic vibe with Cherry V. This time round, infectious groove by Amore and his single She. It's absolute madness. So I'm not going to talk much. Listen to the tune. I'll be right back. You'll hear from the man himself regarding the song and a whole lot more. Enjoy. So everybody, I'd like to introduce you to Amore. Yay!
The crowd goes wild.
Amore, how are you doing?
I'm really good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm blessed, man. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good, man. Like the other day, like when I sent you the voice note about your single She, literally the moment I put it on, I thought, okay, let me have a listen to this tune. Yeah, fam, it is so infectious. I was like, I had to stop myself from like dancing on the bus, because I was on the bus when I was listening to it. I was like, wow, like how? Okay, let's talk about the lyrics first, right?
Yeah.
Like, what inspired you to write the lyrics? Was there a situation that happened, or like, talk to me?
Well, I mean, most of my songs are based on situations of some sort. Like,
Okay.
I mean, for the most part, I tend to combine situations that I've been in with what I think I would have done if I had more guts, for example. Like,
Oh, okay.
you know, like, yeah, like what a better me would do, or what, like, some of it is like what happened in a real life scenario. And then
Right.
some of it is, man, if I had the guts to be the guy I think I want to be, I
Yeah.
would have done this.
Right.
So it's
Interesting.
stuff like that, where it's just, so for example, this song came about because the co-writer that I was working with at the time, her name was Polly Pierce at the time. She'd been married since to one of my good friends who drums in my band, E-Man. So now her name is Polly Antry.
Oh wow.
Right. So so we were writing and she actually came up with the hook.
Yeah.
And so it kind of started out of the hook. The hook was maybe the genesis of the whole concept, where it was, let me spend forever with you, I can't wait to call you, man. I was like, that sounds like something I've been in. Like, I've been in scenarios where I know that I'm checking for a girl who wants it to be more.
Yeah.
And I know that the status quo just isn't that yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? And for the most part, the relationships that I'd been in at the time, or even, you know, situationships that I've been in at the time,
Yeah.
had kind of been a thing of, you know, the girl that I'm with wanting more than I'm giving.
Right.
For that time. So then it's a case of like, well, how do I explain to you that, listen, I'm in this, but I'm in this at this level right now. And it's not about pushing this forward. It's just about enjoying where we're at. So that's kind of where the song kind of grew into, is how do you build this concept of, listen, I like you as it is, and just as life happens, evolution happens. So just let life flipping happen. But where we're at right now, this is like, we're enjoying ourselves now. This is dope. This is let's be what it is, and it will go where it's going. And interestingly, the relationship I'm in now was built that same kind of way. And the reason why it's successful is because we just allowed ourselves to let it be whatever it is. So it's kind of like, that's where the lyrical concept of the song came out from. It was like, how do you give that story that you've been through in a way that also isn't, you know, like trash, like the way I've been that trash dude before as well, where it's been like, well, yeah, I like you, but that's all I want. I just want to just, you know, just hang and do nothing serious. But because I'm a nice guy, I got your heart, and I know that, and that's a damn shame. But you haven't got mine, which is also a damn shame. And I've done that. But that wasn't where the concept was, in it. So it's kind of like, well, how do you write what the truth actually is here? Which is, I do enjoy where we're at, and I enjoy the fact that because I like where we're at, I know that it's something that I'd like to build on. But you don't build with future bricks right now. You just build with now's bricks. Like, now's the time to just enjoy now. And I was like, that's where the concept kind of, where it grew into. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's so interesting because as the song evolves, like while you listen to it, you start realizing, well, it starts off with how much power Jay has, and you start realizing how much power she has through the song.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So almost like every time
Okay.
her mantra comes up, it
Mm.
adds its own value on top of itself, compounding in it.
Mm. Okay. So musically speaking, there's a lot
Ooh,
going on. And I need to know the process that you and the producers and the musicians, like how you guys put it
mm,
together, because there's so much going on. But thankfully, because the mixing engineer
mm,
it's packaged together nicely, it doesn't
and
sound like a mess. But
yeah,
it sounds like there's a lot of different cultures that have been put together in a
yeah,
nicely packaged, palatable way. So please
yeah.
break down the process for me because I'm fascinated by it all.
Well, let me start with this. One, the word palatable. Woo!
Mm.
When I heard that, I said yes. Say it 3 times for
Mm.
the camera. It's beautiful
Palatable,
words.
baby.
Beautiful word.
Mm.
Well, essentially, let me just say, like, the mixing,
Yeah.
I can never take responsibility for how well it's mixed. That was um one amazing engineer, Sean,
Right.
Hypertone,
Right. Okay.
who who I who I got in touch with through a recommendation from Jermaine Riley, who's like another
Okay.
amazing artist.
Yeah.
And Hypertone also mixes Jermaine stuff. He's mixed like some Cherry V stuff,
Right.
and so from that, I know, okay, in terms of R&B sound and in terms of a
Mhm.
clean sound, I know you got
Mhm.
that covered. So
Mm.
he did the hookup on the mix on that.
Mhm.
And interestingly, the guy who I was telling you about before, the
Mm.
co-writer's now husband,
Mhm.
was actually the co-producer at the time. We actually was
Okay.
in studio together
Right.
working on the production.
Mhm.
And that's how him and Polly, the co-writer, met,
Mm.
was that we're all working together.
Oh snap!
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Oi!
So also the genesis of this song has kind of been the genesis of their relationship in some way. They're now married with a
Wow.
kid. So this is what I mean, like the blessings of music. And E-Man, we've worked together on stuff, but this was kind
Mhm.
of one of the first times that we started building something that I was like, bro,
Mhm.
this is going on my project. I don't care how this happens, it's going on my project.
Mhm.
So it's almost like we put even more juice into this song because of that.
Mm.
Like I obviously I'm a Ghanaian kid,
Yep.
but I was raised in London
Yeah.
and kind of also fascinated by how many different cultures that I've grown up around.
Right.
I'm from Harlesden, so this is kind of like Caribbean, a bit of like we had quite a lot of Somalian presence in the area for a while,
Okay.
Portuguese presence in the area,
Mm.
um, and had quite a few little Spanish friends here and there throughout like my
Mm.
life as well. So
Mm.
it's almost like I can't pin what genre I would
Mm.
classify my overall music taste because
Mm.
I grew up with too many
Mm.
genres in my head. And this was
Mm.
one of the first times me and Imam were like, let's not try to make it genre based. Let's just hang out in the studio and see what happens. So
Mhm.
the first kind of thing that came out of it was when Polly wrote the hook in the first place, it kind
Mhm.
of felt Latin, and that's where we were
Mm.
going. So we
Okay.
started building up this kind of Latin feel, we were all dancing in the studio.
Right.
But then, like a kind of like a hip hop vibe came into my head, so we started making a beat in that direction.
Yeah.
And then one of us, I can't remember who it was, put a four to the floor on that and was like, "Oh
Right.
shoot, that works as well." So now
Yeah.
we've got this. It's already a mix of stuff,
Right.
and that was like the beat was initially going to be a whole four to the floor move. So we kind
Okay.
of like built it and said, okay, well if it's going to be four to the floor, let's go as clubby as we can.
Right.
Threw in some horns on like at the beginning of a chorus and stuff,
Yeah.
and went ham on that. And then I thought, man, we got to throw in something that would make it into like a Renault Clio advert. So then I
Mm.
hollered at my guitarist Nate, and said,
Mm.
I need a guitar to sound dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I need you to get me a guitar kind of
Right.
loop like that, get me that. And he came back like same day, threw that into the track. Now that
Wow.
bangs. And then we start thinking about, okay, let's throw some bass in there. So there's
Mm.
actually two basses in the track.
Nice.
Like to be fair, when I sent this to a kid that I'm mentoring now,
Mhm.
bad boy producer, he's like 15 years old,
Mhm.
but produces better than I produce now, I think. And he's
Mm.
15. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? I've got years on this kid, but he's better than me.
Mm.
So when he got the stems to make a remix, he's like,
Mm.
man, what do you mean you got two basses? How do you work with two basses?
Right.
And I was like, well, I worked it with two basses, man.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
essentially, one bass is holding long notes, and there's another bass that's kind of cutting through. So
Right.
if
Okay.
you sidechain that,
Yeah.
you can either have you are on the brink of a mess
Mm.
immediately. But I
Mhm.
don't care. I mean, where's the formula for good music in it? So I just throw it together.
Mm.
So then we've got that. The basses jump in. There's one gung gung, and there's one that's holding like longer notes, especially in the chorus.
Nice.
And then when we got to the second verse, because we started obviously writing, that's how we make music. We just write it as we go,
Right.
and it builds itself, which is
Mm-hmm.
great because it meant that there wasn't a formula when we were writing. We got to the second verse and was like, well, let's write something new, but
And
let's
then the
also
beat
then make a
changes
new beat.
different
Beat
completely.
changes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
E-Man.
Yeah.
E-Man was like, we got to take him back home on this, man. I was like, what are you talking about? So he literally sits at the laptop and he's like, I think the beat should be this. And he's a drummer, so he had it in his head from early anyway. He's
Yeah.
like, this is where we can go.
Yeah.
And he switched it. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're going
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that switch gives it just gives so much life to the song.
Yeah.
For me,
It gives a different dynamic. Yeah.
Exactly. Whole different dynamic, man. So then we went back to Nate on the guitar. I was like, I need you to send me some guitar that follows the dun 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 dun. So you'll hear that in the second verse as well.
Yeah.
So that's layered on top. And it's kind of like, this is what I mean by it building itself as it goes. The writing process didn't feel like a writing process. It almost felt like a resource development process. Do you know what I mean? Like we're gathering resources and we might need new resources for the next section and new resources again for the next section. So then we get into like a next chorus and we kind of like break it down the same way. But then we get to the middle eight and we're like, we need something new again. So E-Man, I think it was like, why don't you just take out all the instruments and just like, pad in and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so interesting. There's actually a side note. There's a singer that I know called Sincerely Wilson.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a genius vocalist. Genius. And I've done a lot of gigs with him over the past few years. So when we were making the track, at the time, Wilson was showing me a lot about vocals, how he kind of found and connected with his vocal style. And I was looking into how he operates as a vocalist and being like, there's so much value in there. And I was kind of learning bits and pieces from him. And I took away from him some ways of pronouncing words that I was very Wilson. So in that middle eight, you'll hear that I was hanging with Wilson at the time. You know I will always come back because you got something that I want. Home is where your loving is, so I can't stay away. That I can't stay away. That's Wilson.
Okay.
Too long, you're drawing me. Stay a little longer each night. Is it me or you falling? Like some of the pronunciation there, I can't tell this time. Is from hanging around with Wilson. You know, you hang around with someone who's dope, you start to take on some of their dopeness, innit?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
do you know what I mean? So some of that is from him. And he doesn't even flipping know it. Poor guy.
Well, now he knows if he listens to
Now he
this.
knows exactly right. So
That's a Sincerely Wilson.
shout out. So there's that. But then we realized that we've got an opportunity here to get some horns in. So that's why we called in the horns. And that's like one of my boys, Blackjack Horns, Jack Birch.
Okay.
And, well, Jack Birchwood. I call him Jack Birch, my bad. But Jack Birchwood.
Yeah.
And he hollered back. He was like 2 days later, he came back with horns.
Wow.
But we'd already obviously finished it, which meant that when we put it on there, it was like, that's what was missing. It was like he filled in the missing gaps.
Right.
So he added in the pads of the horns into that section. And then through to the end of the song, he built up his own horns story. Trumpets and saxophones, and you'll hear them blasting through at the end.
Yeah.
Like he really did go through and say, okay, well, how do I want to build into the story that you've written here?
Yeah.
So it was essentially that. And then it's so funny because even after all that was done, we then went back in and found extra things we want to throw into the production. Like there is a pad of an electric guitar just hitting a one note. And I've kind of distorted it and side chained it with the kick. So then it goes through the whole thing because I just thought it would add this whole new layer of dirt on top of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's mad because then I get that actual stem just on its own and it sounds like just dirt. Like you've thrown 100 pebbles onto a floor and seen what that sounds like. But I absolutely love it, man. I absolutely love it. So by the time you get to the end of the song, it's almost like we've spent every resource that we wanted to put into this song.
For real.
This one tune. Yeah.
For real. I can hear it. Like I wish I could just get the instrumental and just vibe to that. Because in my head, I'm just picking out this section and that section and this section. And like I'm a musician and producer as well. So it's like my mind was just literally breaking down. Okay, the vocals are doing this and the bass is doing this and this is doing that. And there's just so much going on in my head. And I love it. I was just like, this is a brilliant, well put together song.
Well, you've got a deal. I'm actually going to get the instrumental out then. That's a vibe. That's a vibe. Deal. Yeah. On your word as well. I'm going to put the instrumental out.
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
this is what I learned, yo, man.
this is it. Because the thing is, I didn't even realize how important that is. Like, get the instrumental out, let people then listen to the instrumental because
Mm,
there's a story in itself. You don't even need the vocals to
mm,
enjoy your way through that tune.
mm.
I'm doing it. It's
I,
on.
good. I look forward to that.
Mm.
Honestly, I look forward to that. So you mentioned about earlier on about being a
Yeah.
mentor. So tell me more about that for a second.
So, I mean, I started really taking music seriously when I was about 15,
Okay.
and we got followed around by BBC.
Mm-hmm.
They did a little documentary on us
Mm-hmm.
as part of a bigger documentary called Heart of Harlesden. So it was
Okay.
me, my boy Ishma,
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, Tyrone. We had a boy group, and they
Right.
followed us around. We were singing at high schools and youth club, and basically just not being in trouble on the streets
Okay.
because we were following, pursuing music.
Yeah.
And Ishma's older brother Zalon, who like did BVs for Amy Winehouse,
Mm-hmm.
he kind of mentored us, but he was trying
Mm.
to figure it out himself. So he was
Right.
looking for his mentors
Yeah.
and just giving us all the information that he was finding out in the game.
Okay.
And I realized that there wasn't anybody at that time in any of our careers
Mm.
who just understood what they needed to understand,
Mm-hmm.
got what their role was,
Mm-hmm.
and was just giving us solid understanding and knowledge about the industry.
Mm-hmm.
We're figuring out stuff for ourselves where we
Mm.
didn't really have mentors, like
Mm.
somebody who's like, I see your potential, I know where you're going, I've seen that roadmap already. Here are
Mm.
the potholes, here are the twisty parts of the roads,
Mm-hmm.
here are the roundabouts, here's where you're gonna have to make a U-turn.
Mm-hmm.
Do these things, you can avoid all the obstructions and you can just get there faster.
Mm.
So because I didn't have it, I realized, shoot, there's gonna be people that are 15 now who
Mm.
don't have what I didn't have. So
Mm.
unless I stand forward, that's just not gonna be available.
Okay.
So that's kind of where what I'm up to now is like I develop younger artist projects because
Mm.
I know what it's like to be a younger artist in a
Mm.
project and you just don't know. You're figuring it out for
Yeah.
yourself. Now imagine
Mm.
figuring it out for yourself, but also having the value of somebody with 10, 15, 20 years experience on you as well,
Mm.
who isn't putting on you their dreams. They're
Mm.
just pulling out of you your potential, your
Right.
vision. That's where I'm
Right.
at, man. I think that's important. I think anyone
Oh.
who's had time in the game should turn around and put it into put your value, put your understanding into somebody younger
Mm.
who sees the world through different eyes. It doesn't
Mm.
even have any threat to my career because my career is my career. It's
Yeah.
my career at my age with my knowledge, my understanding, my taste in music. But I put my understanding and my experience into somebody who's got different tastes in music, got a different understanding about how the world works,
Mm.
different understanding about what music needs. That's
Mm.
basically like giving somebody the powers that are that to do what they would do. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like they don't
Mm-hmm.
have to wait until the age that I was when I realized myself. They can realize themselves now and put themselves into
Yeah.
action on the court. So
Wow.
yes,
That's
that's why I do
amazing.
it.
That's really amazing. It's funny because it's like over the last few months, I'm realizing just how many of who we regard as great and
Mm,
legendary, sorry,
mm,
they got mentored and they always reference back to their mentors. Oh, I learned from
yeah,
this person. They taught me this. Like Quincy Jones, for example, he
mm,
learned about orchestration and strings. I think he went to Paris, if I
mm,
remember correctly.
yep,
And he got mentored under somebody who taught him how to orchestrate strings and how to write
yeah,
strings. So even
yeah.
though he had a lot of raw talent, he was mentored by people and he always referenced, oh, this person did this and this
That's
person did
it.
that and da, da, da. So it's like it's very important to have
Mm,
mentorship, and if you can give to other people,
yeah.
so I definitely,
This is the
yeah.
thing. I honestly think that we all have something to offer. We all have some superhuman power of internal value that we can
Mm,
offer.
mm,
It's now just a case of do you make that choice to stand forward because
mm,
you can sit back and wait for the opportunity to pass your knowledge on,
mm,
or you can step into the world and realize that it's already in need of you. It's already waiting. It's been waiting for you to step forward.
yeah.
And what you can either do it now, you can step forward in 5 years, you can step forward in 20, you can
Mm.
wait till you have your Grammy, you can wait till you have, your end of times house, or you can wait till you're on your deathbed and write your memoirs. But at some point, you're gonna have to step forward and offer your value into the world,
Yeah.
or what's the point? The
Mm,
funny thing that I'm finding is it's so much more rewarding
mm,
to give everything that I know so that I don't lean on it anymore. Like it's
mm,
very easy to sit back and say, well, I know all this stuff. Great.
mm.
I know all this stuff. But now if I give all that information away, I now have to go and find even more information if I want to stay ahead. And that's now a new challenge. In order to stay ahead of the kid that I'm mentoring, or any kids that I'm mentoring, or any new artist that I'm giving value or giving information to, in order to stay ahead, I've got to go even further forward into my field and find new information, find new skills out. Otherwise, eventually they'll end up teaching me. I don't want that. I'm still in competition with you guys. I'm still out to beat you. Do you know what I mean? I still want to win, but I'm not winning. I don't want to win by you losing. I want to win because you won big, but I won bigger. I'm Jay. I won bigger. Ishma dropped a tune a couple of weeks ago called Gimme the Ring. And man, it's such a banger. I was so annoyed because this is a banger. Now I have to share it with everyone myself. I have to tell everyone how good this tune is. But you released it around the same time I released mine, which means 2 bangers came out same time. That's a great thing for the world. Also a great thing for our competition, because I can really look at your song, look at my song, compare them, and let people compare them and really see who top trumps who. If you win this round, I'm coming back for you for the next round, because my next one's going to be a banger. You better have it consistently, because I got it consistently. But that's how I love it. I love how close the competition can be when you really believe the other person you're in competition with is the best person you could possibly be in competition with.
For real.
That's exciting to me, man.
I hear that. So speaking of bangers, are we gonna get any more bangers this year?
Listen, man, I'm looking to release the whole. I'm releasing the whole album this year. I've had a couple of releases off the album already. If I Don't Wake Up Today, I released Give Me You. I released Queen. There's a couple that's been released. Lips came off the album as well. So there's like 4 or 5 that have been released off the album. Love Potion last year. But now the rest of the project's coming out. The reason why I'm releasing them as singles is just so I can spend more time with my audience. Like this, just from releasing She, I put out the original record and I showed how I produced it in a video. Then I played it on piano in another video. And do you know what I mean? I've got an a cappella version of it as well. And that's just for one. That's for one song.
Right.
So if I put out the whole album just at one go, I'd have to basically slowly put out all the little bits and pieces of things that I want to do with each song. Whereas I put out one song, I put out 5 versions with it. You just gave me another idea of putting out the instrumental on its own. Then I move on to another one. So literally in the next, 6 weeks, there'll be another single. The next one's called Breakout, which is basically about getting out of the envelope that people put you in, the expectations that people have of you in your life, and also realizing that there's no formula for success. You can make your own formula for success, which is a lesson that I think I learned from my sister. My sister, literally, there was one point that I told her that I was broke, and she's like, "Do you know what, Jay? With all the intelligence you have and all the resources you have around you, you actually have no excuse for being broke. So if you're broke, this because you're not choosing to set yourself free of that." And I was like, wait, so I'm supposed to take responsibility for the she's like, actually, yeah, because with a mind like yours and talent like you've got, it's up to you. You stop waiting for someone to come and give you an opportunity. Go and knock down doors and go make your own opportunities. And that's what Breakout's about. It's about make your own opportunity. It's up to you. So that's going to be out next. If you think She was a banger, you wait till you hear the next one, Benjamin.
I'm ready and I'm waiting. So where can we find you on socials?
So on my socials, I'm Jay Amore. On Instagram, Jay Amore, Jaiamore. On Facebook, Jay Amore, Jaiamore. On SoundCloud, it's a bit different. It's Jay Amore, Jaiamore. On where else? On YouTube. On YouTube, it's slightly different. On YouTube and Twitter, it's the same. It's slightly different. It's Jay Amore, Jaiamore. Where else? Where else have we got? On SoundCloud, type in the same thing.
Right.
There's no surprises here. It's actually Jay Amore, Jaiamore. So it's essentially wherever you go, no matter how you spell it, as long as you spell it Jay Amore, Jaiamore, you're gonna find my face looking at you. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm all over the spot.
It has been great speaking with you.
You too. Thank you. Have a wicked weekend.
Thank you.
Kill it.
Bye.
All right, peace out. Bye.
And that's the end of episode 31. Thank you so much for your time, Jay Amore. It was great speaking with you. If you'd like to connect with me, you can on Twitter, Ms. Jojob, MZJOJOB. Everything relating to the podcast is found on Linktree, linktr.ee/TMT_podcast. Podcast. Spotify, YouTube, all the social medias there. And if you'd like to email, you can. That's my tune podcast at gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, and have a great week. I'll be back next Tuesday with another episode. Ciao.